Hello. Today we would see how we can monitor a Linux machine through RL Command Center. Currently, I have a Linux machine which runs Ubuntu. We have a script that would help us put monitoring agents on this machine. To try and download the script, use the duplicate command from the documentation. As in when you run this command, you would get agent_installation.tar.gz file. And once you extract it, you would be having agent_installation.sh file. There are a bunch of prerequisites. We expect a user to have sudo privileges. So for example, as in when you are logged in, try and execute the following command. Now if you have sudo privileges, this command would give you the output with a list of all the files and directories at the / which is the root directory. Now if you do not have root privileges, this command would throw an error. Apart from this, we also expect port numbers 8301, 8302, 8500, 8600 and 3030 to be open. The details along with these port numbers are also available on the documentation. I happen to collect a file that would help me explain all the parameters that our current script would take. If you would see, we are expecting a few parameters here. The first being the business service name. In our case, it happens to be Pet Clinic. The second happens to be a dependent service name. For example, currently our pet clinic is running on top of Tomcat, and hence, and for our example, it's Tomcat. The third parameter would be the tenant ID. In our case, it's relevance, but for your case, you would be provided with a tenant ID. The parameter 4 is the port number. If you would see, we also pass the port number in the URL. So, even though you do not pass the port on the URL, this port would be taken into consideration. The parameter 6 and 7 are the checks interval and the checks.json file name. Checks interval determines the frequency at which the checks run. The JSON file name is the console client file name that would be present on your machine. Now, to run the script, try and use it with sudo and it would come up something like this. If you would see, we have passed on parameters pet clinic, Tomcat, relevance, 8080, the URL, 20 seconds as a time interval, and a JSON file name petclinic.json, which would be available at etc console.d client after we run the script. Now let's go ahead and run the script. If you would see, it's trying to get in a few cookbooks, try and install a few softwares, namely Sensu, console, make a config file, and then try and make sure that the same would get reciprocated on the RL command center. Now, as and when the script execution is done, we can actually try and use a netstat command and check whether the ports are up and running or not. And if I grep for console, it would give me the console ports. For Sensu, I would have to grep it with its port number, which is 3030, and because Sensu runs on Ruby, it would show Ruby. Let's go to etc console.d client folder and check whether we have our petclinic.json file or not. And here we have our petclinic.json, which would contain all of the information that you have passed on as parameters. We can try and explore it with the cat command. As in when you would see that there's a service name, Pet Clinic, there are tags, application Tomcat, service Pet Clinic, tenant ID relevance, all of which we have passed through parameters, the port and the check and the interval. In this way, this specific machine would be configured as a BSM on the RL command center. Thank you.